Well, here we are, Dylan. We're just idling out early July or mid-September. Feels like early July. Man, our early fall's just been insane. What is it? It's supposed to be 85 degrees today?
Yeah.
You know, you guys might remember Dylan from last season, Dylan Peotter. We've caught a bunch of big walleyes on Petenwell, had a great time in the fall. We're not on Petenwell though this time, are we?
No, we're out here on Big Green Lake.
Big Green, middle of Wisconsin, deepest inland lake in Wisconsin. And we're not after walleyes either, we're after lake trout. Corey Sprengel, Justin Cohn, and myself shot here quite a few years ago. You know what? We didn't have forward facing back then, so I think this is going to be a little bit different. We're going to be able to get on them a little bit quicker. But honestly, I don't know if we're going to be fishing in 50 or 200 feet of water for these things. What do you think?
The water temperature? I don't know.
What are we going to be using? Big jigs and plastics, glide baits? I don't know. One thing is for sure, I think we're going to find them and we're going to show you the next bite.
Just looking for the next bite, next bite, next bite, next bite. I'm just looking for the next bite.
Returning to a lake to fish after many years away is a lot of fun. You can only hope that the fishing is better than when you left it.
Gosh, there's a lot of them down there. Oh, here we go. Rolling.
Still a feisty little one.
Yep. And honestly, it was like 7 years ago last time I did this, and it just got to the point where now we have forward-facing sonar. I mean, you could see them really come after your stuff. It's a riot, except for these things can make you mad too, because they've been attacking us and missing and things like that, but let's get this one back.
The best part about returning to a fishery where the average size of your target species has increased is that you often have new technology to help you catch even more fish. Forward-facing sonar is a great tool for deepwater fishing, especially when you can find lake trout suspended. But it's important to note that even though you can see the fish chase, you still have to convince them to bite.
Green Lake's the deepest inland lake in the entire state, mid-September time frame, and the lake trout season ends at the end of September, so we're hitting it near the end of it. And that's a great time to come to Green Lake for the simple sake that all summer long, yes, you can catch them, but for the most part, they're out over the open water, right? They can be anywhere in the basin, they're following Cisco, they're following that bait out there, so it can be tough to target them, and there might not be grouped up hardly at all then too. But as this time period rolls around right before the season closes, they start pushing up on the structure, on the real sharp breaks, on some of these points on Green Lake, and they start to pot up as well too. So they become more accessible, maybe that 50 to 90 foot of water instead of that 150 foot of water out in the abyss, which allows you to throw some of the walleye baits at them because it's a little bit shallower water as well. But definitely a place that if you haven't come fishing, you definitely got to come out here and try these lake trout. Okay. Got him.
That's perfect. Hey, what do you think that was?
It's gotta be a laker. Right on the bottom, he just slowly moved toward it. Hey, feels all right. Crazy, just on the old finisher. It's so cool watching him, isn't it?
Well, it's a pretty decent one too.
There we go. Nice. Not a bad one right there.
Good start.
That was pretty cool because we both saw him, and we both dropped right to him, and he was just slowly swimming at the I mean, it takes a while for these baits to get down like 75 feet.
I swear, as soon as he seen that finisher, he was right on.
He swam right to it, and about 3 pops later, boom. But it's a lot of fun. I mean, this is ridiculous, right? We're talking 85-degree weather, middle of September. We're like the only boat out here.
Flat, calm, beautiful morning.
We're gonna get after him, but that's a nice one right there.
Oh, for
Let's
sure.
get that one back. Here we go. Yeah, you ready to go? Holy cow. There we go. Oh, little flip. There he goes.
The next bite is brought to you by Mercury Marine. Go boldly. Schaefer's Specialized Lubricant. Putting equipment first. Nitro Boats. Performance Fishing Boats. Bass Pro Shops and Cabela's. Your adventure starts here. Berkeley. Your fish, our science. And Power Pole. Total Boat Control. Closed captioning for the next bite is provided by Whitewater. Built to brave the waves. Lake trout are a very hard-fighting fish. That makes them a ton of fun. The hard fight often makes people think you really have to upsize your equipment. In some cases, that's true, but more often than not, you can use the exact same equipment you utilize for walleyes.
So let me take a moment here and just talk about the equipment that we're using to catch these lake trout on Green Lake. And really, when you look at it, it's very similar to what I use for catching walleyes with glide baits. One minor change here, and that would be in the rod. This is a 7-foot Johnny Morris Patriot rod, medium heavy, fast action. So typically I'm using a medium rod for walleyes. This is medium heavy, so something that just has a little bit more power in case you do tangle into one of those really big lake trout out here. Most of them are the same size as walleyes, so you can definitely get away with a medium action. But then when I look at the reel, it's the same reel that I use for walleyes. This is a Johnny Morris Platinum 3000 size spinning reel. Really good drag system, which is extremely important with these lake trouts because when you get them on, so you're fighting them for a decent amount of time, but the main line's exactly what I would use for walleyes too. 10-pound fire line, 15-pound 100% fluorocarbon leader, so real similar setup. The only thing I would say is if you have a fast action rod that's available to you, go with that in case you get hooked into one of these really big lakers on Green Lake. Oh, look at the one on the bottom. Oh, he pounded it. What in the world? Look at the net. That wasn't even the one that my bait was by, dude. That was the one way below it. Holy cow, he's going nuts. He's going nuts, look at him. Oh, he's off too. He was going ballistic. Perfect, that's a nice one.
Yeah.
Oh, come here, buddy. I mean, he was, he was just rolling and rolling when he came up, but that was amazing. I mean, that was a 3-pack that we saw.
Yeah, and he came out of nowhere.
And I was going after the 2 that were at about 40 feet down, and this thing was at about 60 feet down, and all of a sudden, just wide open, he came straight up and just hammered that finisher. But that's a nice one right there. I mean, ain't a giant, but man, they fight. I mean, they just,
right?
Oh, it's been fun. Hey, way to get it in the net. That thing was a little crazy. And he wants to go back now. Oh, come on, come on. All right, buddy, we're gonna get you back. Here we go. Since you wanna go, here we go, buddy. Okay, back down to the depths. Oh.
He must have lifted that thing.
Holy cow.
Total Control, presented by Power Pole. 20 years of trust evolved from Total Boat Control.
It's amazing to me how much fishing electronics have changed in the last few years with the advent of Lowrance's Active Target. So this is actually another advent because of Active Target systems. There's a lot of equipment involved. You've got poles, you've got an internal control box. So what this unit is Lowrance's new Explorer Series pack, and it essentially is a very versatile unit to use out on the ice for this. When you're fishing, you can just flip down this one pack and watch your unit. If you need to get at all of your equipment, it's all right here. Batteries, control box, the whole works is right there. It's got actually a very sturdy internal frame. And in the ice fishing world, as we all know, things get beat up bad. So to have this type of strength to protect your equipment is incredible. You can move from hole to hole with this handy heavy-duty handle, which is nice. You don't have to move all of your equipment. It all is self-contained. And then for those of you who are walking out on the ice, you've got a really nice backpack system. So I think you're going to enjoy having all of your Active Target equipment all in one spot. It's going to make your fishing a lot easier.
So one of the things that you really have to pay attention to going after these lake trout on Green Lake is how they're positioned in the water column. And I think that's kind of dictated what bait we're using and what bait we're seeing the most success with. Now, ironically, it's one of my favorite baits for walleyes, but we're catching pretty much, in getting all the bites, we've missed a couple on the Berkeley Finisher, number 9. One of the things that you really have to look at is obviously the depth that these fish are in, and they're kind of positioned anywhere from, say, 50 to 90 feet down. And it definitely seems like the more aggressive ones, the ones that will actually chase your bait and sometimes bite your bait, are the ones that are suspended a little bit off the bottom. Now you see a lot of them come up and swipe at your bait and don't hit it. And where this bait, this Berkeley Finisher, really is great is on those suspended fish, where you can keep it just above those fish. And a lot of times when you're snapping the bait, they're eating it on that slack line. So ironically, phenomenal bait for these lake trouts too, this Berkeley Finisher. One thing that we have seen is white colors. We've tried a lot of different colors, because when you come out here and start looking for them, the fish are all over the place. So you gotta figure out which ones you can actually get a couple bites with. But Berkeley Finisher, once again, putting a lot of fish in the boat. Oh, there's one right by it. Oh, holy cow! That wasn't even the one that was by me. What in the... I'll get to that. He came flat. You see that? That wasn't even the one by the bait. I think it's a decent one.
Oh yeah.
Wow.
Looks like a nice one too.
It's a decent one, yeah. Almost startled me a little bit with the bite, you know?
Where is he? Ooh.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. There we go. That was awesome. I mean, there was a pack of like 4 of them there, right? I want to grab me that pliers.
Yep, here
this
you go.
thing's buried here. Oh, thank you so much. Okay. Well, he definitely wanted that finisher. I mean, like I said, it was just crazy. He was not the fish that I was thinking was maybe gonna eat. He came from 15 feet away, and he wanted it. Oh, I wasn't gonna lose him, Dylan.
No, not even close.
Holy cow. There we go. All right. Yeah. I mean, it almost scared me when it hit, because I was like right by that one, just working the finisher, and all of a sudden, like, one just came straight from the side and donk. Nice fish. They definitely come bigger here, but honestly, and we were talking about it earlier, like I came 7 years ago was the last time I've been here, and the average size was actually a lot smaller than this.
Yeah.
So, I mean, these are fun to catch.
Oh, for sure.
For an average size inland laker, middle of Wisconsin, pretty cool deal. All right. Back down to the depths. There we go.
When targeting these lake trout, I've noticed that you can catch them on the bottom or you can catch them suspended. When they're on bottom, I'll use a glide bait like a shiver minnow and keep popping that bait off bottom. You can watch the way that they react while you're popping it off bottom, and that'll tell you if you need to keep bringing it up higher and higher, and you just keep popping it as you bring it up. And these lake trout are pretty aggressive fish, so they'll basically hit anything. Sometimes you can't move it too fast for them. When I'm fishing the suspended lake trout, I'll use the Berkeley finisher, and I'll try to keep that bait above them and work it aggressively above them and make them chase that bait. So you can basically do little pops like this and try to keep that bait above the fish, or you can get real aggressive and those fish will chase real hard. The fish will tell you what they want. They'll either swim away or they'll come and hit it.
Got one.
Oh, you got one?
Yep.
I didn't even know you were on one. Did you know you were by one?
No.
No. I'll get the net. I'm not like that. What do you got there, huh?
Oh, what do you know? Lake trout.
Yep.
Feisty.
Oh, come on. Settle down. Woo! Yeah, I was looking at an entirely different fish. I didn't even know you were by one. Well, that one was pretty cool. That was kind of a bonus. Like, I was looking at one right under the boat and you were back quite a ways and just working that finisher. And
Yeah, honestly, just vertically jigging. I wasn't looking at it. I was pretty close to the bottom. And
you mean you can catch fish without forward-facing sonar still?
believe it or not, right here, here's one.
All right, let's get that one back, man.
The next bite is brought to you by Mercury Marine. Go boldly. Schaefer's Specialized Lubricant. Putting equipment first. Nitro Boats. Performance Fishing Boats. Bass Pro Shops and Cabela's. Your adventure starts here. Berkeley. Your fish, our science. Lowrance. The ultimate fishing system. And Power Pole. Total boat control. Hot topics, leading information and tackling techniques to make you a better angler. Presented by Mercury.
When it comes to today's engines, it's very easy to lose track of how many hours you put on your motor. It just goes from trip to trip, and also next thing you know, you put on, 50 hours. And at the end of the day, it states 100-hour oil change intervals. Also, if you look at the manual, it states it's 100 hours if it's everyday normal use. Us that like to go fast or people that like to fish tournaments, we're running these engines very hard, trimmed up, and we're trying to get the maximum amount out of that. And it also states in the owner's manual, if you're using it in extreme conditions, high speed, that it's only 50 hours is recommended oil change intervals. And so it's important to do it more times than not, just because of peace of mind. And let's face it, these are very expensive engines. So a lot of times I like to do that 30 to 50 hour range, just because not only the more I do it, the more the chance that my dealer is going to notice something that possibly could go wrong the next time I'm on the water. And also Mercury makes it very simple to just check that oil. And here on this 400 V10, this takes 10 quarts of oil, and this dipstick can tell me a lot. Basically Mercury wants this on the hash marks here at least half to 2/3 of the way up, if not full, is where they'd like it to be. Now, if it's towards the bottom here on the bottom of the hash marks, it actually takes 3.5 quarts to get it back up to full. These engines have a reduced power mode if they do get too low on oil, which can ruin your day, only allowing that engine to go maybe 5 miles an hour or so, but also maybe sacrificing the engine. That's why I always like to keep a few quarts of engine oil in my boat, just in case there's ever one of those instances. So at the end of the day, Mercury's made it very easy to maintain these engines, and let's face it, that's what we want to do for as long as we can.
For a return trip to any lake, it doesn't get much better than the average size being up from the last time. Combine prior knowledge with new technology, and you can really catch a ton of fish. We've often seen with forward-facing sonar that even if you're able to get your bait in front of a fish, it can be difficult to get them to actually bite. Seeing the mood of the fish allows you to change up baits or cadences, trying to get fish to bite, creating a great learning experience, being able to experiment with what's working and what isn't.
Oh, the line never went down. That one was pretty easy to tell. I mean, the line never went down. Just like the bait didn't fall. That typically means when you see the line not go down, it's in a fish's mouth.
Yeah, that's a nice one. That's a nice one.
Oh yeah, that's a good one. That's a good one. Yeah! That's a good one. I honestly didn't think he was that big. I mean, you saw the fish when, right? Like, they didn't look very big.
It's amazing. You grab that pliers for you.
Yeah, there we go. Don't need a hook in the hand here. Be okay. There we go. Yeah, I didn't think he was gonna be that nice, honestly. Not a giant, but that's a nice one right there. But there were like a bunch of them, and honestly, like just at the end here, they just haven't looked that big. So I wasn't really expecting this size of one.
No, not at all. I mean, that's a good one right there.
It was fantastic. Like, I ripped the finisher up, and I just watched the line not go back down.
And all I heard was drag.
I knew it was in its mouth, but oh, this has been a riot. You know, getting close to the end of the day. We still got some time to fish yet, but honestly, like, it's been fun. We've kind of caught them all day, realistically, right? Like, I mean, there's been some lulls, but there's a lot of fish. You have the opportunity of catching a really, really big one. There are some big ones out here, but even for this, inland lake trout in Wisconsin, we'll take this. Man, this has been fun.
Absolutely.
Oh! There you go. Is that a good one?
Feels good.
Yeah.
Oh, came off.
Can't live on bite soup, Dylan. Yeah. Pretty bossy right now, aren't you, Gunner?
Yeah, I feel like.
All right. I mean, he came up as fast as he could swim at this thing, so you knew he was gonna take it. That was
Yeah, it looked
awesome.
like you had the other two up higher, and then this one just came out of nowhere and just smacked it.
Yeah, like, just a different attitude on the ones that bite, right?
for
Like
sure.
all of them come at the baits pretty aggressively, but the ones that bite come at the baits wide open.
Yeah, it's like they had their mind made up before they even seen your bait.
All right, let's get that thing back. Look at you now. Now you know they're on. The bite's on.
Now
right?
I'm in the captain's chair.
The bite's on now. All right. Yep. Oh, good drive with the net. Going back. Oh, so slippery. There he goes.